So why is it? And it's so stupid. Like, oh yeah, I want to make sure that I keep the car's value, so I want to keep these old ass tires on here. Who gives a fuck?
No,
right?
it's original equipment. You should
but
keep it
who
on.
cares?
You should keep it on.
It only works if it's like
Originality, my
it's
ass.
literally never moved, and the tires are from 1968, and they still have stickers on them.
Exactly.
And it's like you could just put it in a museum.
Yeah.
At that point.
Or just take the tires off. It's really dumb. It's just the mindset. Oh my god, I need to save this value by leaving these old ass
Usually
tires
most
on
of the
there.
time we
It's so
see it as
stupid.
people that like are they really want to sell a car and they have a lot of cars and they just like don't want it. They've never driven the car and they just don't want to spend any money on it.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, you can't sell it with tires from 2001.
Maybe that's what everybody should do with their cars. If you think your car is going to be valuable at any point, just take the tires off. Just buy new tires.
Make-
And then keep your old tires.
This
Put
should
it
be
on
a
a rack. Mistakes. Yeah. Oh,
car ownership.
don't forget to replace your tires after 27 years.
Oh.
Just replacing the tires, original tires, reduce the value of the car.
No. For 99% of the world, no.
No.
Actually, probably for like 99.9% of
I
cars.
maybe like I did such specific circumstances for original
The
tires
first
to matter
250
at all.
GTO ever produced. Maybe that one should have.
Say
its
any
original
car in
tires.
that value range that comes with the tires it was originally made with, I like the point being that like everything on that car is probably so original that it's the best, most original version of it, you know?
But are people really saying,
But it's not because
is
of
it
the
a deal
tires.
breaker?
No, it's not because
Or
of the
like
tires.
a Le Mans car, like
Yeah,
you know,
race
those
winning
tires
car.
matter.
Race
Yeah,
winning.
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know if they
Totally.
do because those
Well,
cars
I mean,
want to
if-
get driven. Those guys
I know,
fucking
but
buy
the-
those cars to drive them. Unless it's a
The Le
collector
Mans
that
cars,
doesn't drive
like
their,
an old Le Mans car, people are driving
people,
those cars.
people race those cars.
That's insane.
Le Mans Classic is
If I was
entirely
buying a Le
for
Mans
Well,
car,
it's-
I'd be buying one with the tires and say, see this
Yeah.
in its state with this dirt, it was
Yeah.
in Le Mans.
But it's already gone through probably so many tires before it was
that the
retired
tires you're
anyway.
buying from it
That's
are
true.
probably were not raced at Le Mans.
Yeah.
Valid.
Because it raced. The thing is, all the cars that raced in period at Le Mans were bought by a different factory team or not a non-factory team or a private owner or whatever, and then raced at like some other shit that wasn't Le Mans a couple times at least, most of the time.
Yeah,
so
when
they're
they
just
were
like
not so
other
valuable.
random tires.
Tires.
When
Yeah.
they were not so valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they were
When
garbage.
nobody gave a shit.
Yeah,
They were just like, oh,
toys.
this is an old cheap race car that I can race because it's not new.
Yeah.
And they made like so many 917s, right?
Yeah,
So even,
and
like,
962s,
stuff like
so
that.
many customer cars.
Yeah.
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 Oh.
Even the pre like 917s, all those cars that were from Le Mans, those were also like race. Those were cars you could drive on the road. So a lot of them, just
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
when they were no longer used,
Win on
for
Sunday,
racing,
sell
they
on
just
Monday.
became,
Yeah.
like,
They had to have
functional.
number plates and be driven,
Yeah.
like some of them.
yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the Valt Podcast. We are your car culture cultivators. Thank you guys for all being here. It's good to see everybody today. Of course, I'm Sean, and always joined by,
Sometimes joined by
sometimes joined by.
Rob.
Vijay, hey, how's it going?
And Joe, how's it going?
Joe sounds
Another
stoked.
episode.
Yeah, Joe. What's going on with the energy today?
Oh, you know, I'm tired, to be honest. But I want to recap a couple things before I go into my week.
I want some food.
Last week we talked. Our main topic was all about cars that you like driving for a few days, but then start to hate. And I never mentioned the Bentley Turbo R. And after getting it back on the road last week, I got to drive it for like a day, and it's awesome. But then, you know, after about 4 or 5 hours, I started to get annoyed by it. So I can't believe I didn't think about that. So any Bentley from 1995 and below is definitely falls in that
Did it
category.
break or it was fine?
No, it's good to go. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
AC works now too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Now we know all the things that keep Joe up at night.
Turbo
he's like, I couldn't sleep
detailing.
without telling you guys this.
I was thinking about it since yesterday, so it wasn't that far. And then another thing that I was talking about last week was that I felt like I was burning out, and like I
Are you-
am
Now you're
on the
burnt.
next level.
Are you tired of seeing us? Is that
No,
is
no.
that-
This is great. This is my like moment of
Hustle.
relaxation
Okay,
and
all right.
nice.
So we are Joe's therapy. So thank
Joe
you.
walked
Thank
into
you
the
guys.
shop the other day because he came to meet his dad, who was dropping off his 6.9, and he was standing on the other side of the shop. And I like walked over there. I was been on the other side, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know you were here. I didn't know Joe was there yet." And Joe just kind of stood there. I was like, yeah.
Phased out.
It's just like
Yeah.
nothing, like nothing.
It was it's my own fault. I mean, like I accidentally said yes to everybody this week, and so I've been working straight up Monday, Tuesday. I mean, I went to the wagon meet on Wednesday,
Yeah.
but straight up from like 7 a.m. to like 2 a.m. in the shop every single day. Thursday was similar, but it was like a 12-hour day, and then today was lighter, which was
Yeah.
great. But I'm so like I'm like dead.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's fine.
I think the important thing is you got to make sure that you're making time for yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
self-care, self-maintenance, man.
Yeah,
is
I got no
important.
sleep this week. It's been
Yeah.
crazy. I didn't eat. I haven't eaten anything today. It's so bad. But next week will be better. One of those cars though is Frank has a Crossfire. He was on the last couple of podcasts ago.
Yeah.
Has a Chrysler Crossfire. That was horrible. It was like the worst paint I've ever seen in my life, and I spent 2 days detailing it.
I
And
didn't
now
know
it's
that.
No,
pretty
it's-
good.
It's not
Was
worse
it
than
clear
my Peugeot.
damage or was it?
Yeah, it
just
was like sitting
crusty?
in a field for like years.
It's not
damage.
worse than my Peugeot.
Is it
No,
a
it
manual?
was worse, but it was savable, so maybe it wasn't. Yeah, it's manual, 6-speed,
Okay.
6-speed, and a Mercedes V6.
Yeah.
It's
fun.
It's it's cool. I mean, like it needed a lot of work. And
He
it's
said it
definitely not
was like
perfect.
almost exactly what you would expect it to be in every way.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It was had 45,000 miles, but and the interior is perfect, but it's been sitting outside forever, so everything was chalk, and I spent so much time on that car.
That period of paint for Mercedes was
Bad.
not good because
Bad.
it was like
You look at yourself something to say.
Yeah, no. I was just going to add, as we were talking about that car last week, I swear all this week I've seen nothing but Crossfires all over the place.
I know it's funny because at the same time I was detailing Frank's, Neil was working on another Crossfire, the same color, but it was an SRT, so it had the supercharged V6.
Uh-huh.
And so for the longest time, I thought that was Frank's car. And then
Oh,
Frank
that's
pulled up
funny.
in that one, and he has like valve cover gas leak, so he's billowing smoke as he's like coming in. And
no.
he's on a DW rally right now. So
Yeah, I
Frank,
know.
if you're watching this now, hopefully you made it through and didn't burn all your oil.
Did he find a companion at least?
I'm sure he's traveling with some friends, but yeah.
They're probably pretty expensive. I would assume just because of the shared parts with Mercedes.
It's a Mercedes, like through and through. You sit in the car and it's identical to Mercedes,
Like the
except for the door
SLK?
panels, which are plastic, and the
But
engine.
I would imagine mechanical, like the engine.
The
and-
engine, literally everything is in German, except for the engine cover, which is a
so
Chrysler
weird.
engine cover.
That's going to be
It's
one of those
literally
things
a
in like another
Mercedes.
20 or 30 years where like when we're old as fuck now, like all the kids are going to be like, what the hell why does this exist? Like,
Yeah.
why is this?
And
why does
apparently that
Chrysler have
manual
German
transmission was only put in like 2 or 3 cars, and it was Mercedes developed. Like,
Wait, the manual was only put in 2 or 3 cars?
yeah, like 2 or 3.
Meaning 2 or 3 different platforms.
2 or 3 different
I
platforms.
thought, okay, yeah.
And it was
They made
developed,
a SLK with the manual too.
Yeah. Julie had
It was
one.
just a SLK 320.
Yeah, it is, and it has the 217 horsepower V6. There's no
Or
power.
230.
Yeah,
230
it's
probably.
whatever the non-supercharged version is. I'm
okay.
not sure.
It's 230.
But it smelled like a Mercedes inside. It looks exactly like a Mercedes, but with Chrysler 300 headlights and
Yeah.
and body lines.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Good lines of
those
them.
lines. And it was a pain in the ass to detail. But
I remember having conversations back in the day comparing that to an S2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
well, that's not right.
What about Pontiac Solstice? I guess
I
Pontiac
didn't-
Solstice was a little bit later.
Later, yeah.
I drove it in and out of the shop, and the one thing that I really noticed was that the gear shift was extraordinarily vague. Like it was
Yeah.
like one of the craziest
Like
experiences.
long, you mean?
No, like you didn't know what gear it
Oh,
was
vague. I
in.
thought you said
and very
big.
very plasticky, and like you
Yeah.
didn't know what gear you were in at any time, and I was just rolling it in and out. Took me 5 minutes to figure out where reverse was too. Because in that car you pull up and go to the left instead
Yeah.
of going down or like I didn't
You're-
there's no lockout. It's like you literally pull the whole shift knob up
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
to
yeah.
the left. So
Oh, it's
I'm not sure if that's an
It's not
American
a
thing.
sleeve that you lift.
No, there's nothing. You the whole shift, the whole stick, go up to go down. But yeah, that's cool. I mean, I hope he makes it through. I mean, it's a Mercedes motor. They're literally bulletproof. It's just burning all of its oil onto the exhaust manifolds right now. I mean, literally, I turned it on. Within a couple minutes, it was burning oil. It was crazy.
Pontiac Crossfire.
But it just the valve cover away from it being leak free. But I hope it makes it, and that'd be fun to see if it did. Another thing that happened this week, which I thought was hilarious, that I messaged you guys about, but a client that had just got her Volvo wagon ceramic coated
Yep.
called me like 2 days ago, frantically, like in a huge panic, because she ran over a spray bottle of yellow paint. It's a black car, and it blew up all over her car. And she's like calling me hysterical, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm just like laughing hysterically, trying to hold it back, because I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe you. Like,
Was this underneath the car or was it on the side of the car?
the way she described it is she called me screaming and was like, there is yellow paint everywhere, and I'm like,
I'm not getting the emotion of her screaming. Can you?
no, I can't.
So, like, I'm your detailer.
She sounded like she was having a panic attack, and I'm like, just put get some nail polish remover and like start rubbing it off, and I'll come when I can. And then she texted me like like 2 in the morning, not 2 in the morning, like midnight the night of, and was like, I got most of it off, but like there's still some all over the place. Can you come like tomorrow? And I'm like, no, but I can come next week. And so that's still a saga. I haven't seen what the car looks like yet, but
She doesn't send you any photos?
no, I don't want the photos. It's
probably not that bad.
I don't want to look. Yeah, it's
Probably not that bad.
It's probably not. I
I mean, a
want
can
to
of
see
spray
it.
paint, it's like
Yeah.
all
If she ran it over, I'd
aerosolized.
imagine it's like on a fender and like a wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
What kind of Mercedes?
It's
Volvo.
Volvo.
Or
It's like
Volvo,
a 2019 Volvo. It's like a inscription package Volvo wagon. It's very nice. But it's dog carrier, so it's like kind of beat. And that's why it's ceramic coated it because.
So will you have to remove that and do the ceramic again? on top
Yeah,
of that?
yeah. I mean, if she used nail polish remover to remove the paint on the body, there's definitely not ceramic coating left on that paint. I mean, like she stripped the fuck out of that. You know? She might have removed some of the paint. Who even knows? I kind of like don't want to go and see it, but I will see it anyway because that's what I do. But yeah, I guess the funny tidbit that happened this week. And then the last thing, I want to mention this to you because I was talking to a client who brought their car on referral from a really well-known BMW shop in Walnut Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And every time, so he brought me the car. It was a vintage Mustang. I detailed it for him. He's going to a show this week, and every single time he mentioned the shop, he never mentioned the shop. He only mentioned the name of the owner of the shop. He's like, oh, whenever I bring it to so-and-so, like, they do such good work. And then I was, like, literally, like, thinking about it as I was detailing it. I'm like, I'm wondering if, like the way to do business correctly is to just establish, like, a friendship level relationship with, like, most of your clients. So that that people who are bringing the cars to your shop are not actually bringing it to the shop. They're bringing it to you specifically because
Yeah,
I
believe
I had like
that.
it was like an epiphany. I'm like, I can't believe I never thought about this, but like
Yeah, I mean,
it
it's
seems like
service
that's what
industry.
you want.
It's like anything in the service industry.
Yeah.
Like your differentiator isn't really your work. It's
No.
It's the
service.
people. Yeah.
So
and your
your business is significantly larger. So what is your experience with that?
No. I mean, Robert hit it right on the head, and I think it's almost.
well, it's
with,
your people. I'm assuming the people that you have that are
we're-
engaging with them.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a service-related business, and it's something I share with my people. Is you know what? There's competitors out there that do the same thing that we do, right? Nobody's going to remember me as the owner. Nobody cares about me as the owner. Nobody really cares about the company. But what they associate the company is with you. Yeah, it's totally important. I mean, we think about it in the everyday things that we may go about as well. Like if we think about where we bring our cars to, or the people that we interact with within the industry, it's always like I don't talk about German Autosport. I talk about Chris over at German Autosport, or
That's definitely true.
yeah. So
Yeah, Billy. I feel like Bill Eason has the same kind of thing going with
Bill
his business.
Eason, yeah.
People just like won't even say Eason. They're just like, I take it to Bill.
yeah.
Yep.
And everybody knows.
Literally,
who Bill is.
I don't know
Everybody,
why I never thought about this because my dad has the same situation with optometry. It's a little different because they're doctors, but like those people are very particular with who they see. I mean, even if my dad has like another doctor, like they will not see the other doctor. They will only see my dad, kind of thing. So I never connected the dots, but like it was like an epiphany. I was like so excited to tell someone that you like could like understand. I told Allie, she didn't really. She was like, "Oh yeah, good job, you did good today." But like, I was just like, I need to tell someone that makes sense of this.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you see an old Mercedes or an old, Beamer at a show, and people are talking, and all of a sudden you hear Mike, you know who they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
But that's
yeah.
my week in the show. It's just been really crazy, and I'm hoping that next week is a little bit less crazy, so I could like sleep normally.
Yeah.
Sean, what about you? How's your week been?
Oh man, I was afraid that you would ask this question, but it's been pretty disappointing. We've been working on the Datsun, and
It was cranking when I walked.
it was
into
cranking. We almost had it turned over, but there's something going on, so we're trying to trace back where the issue is. We're close though. We're close.
This is the closest it's been.
This is the closest
over a
it's
year.
been. Yes. Yeah. It cranks great.
Got,
It cranks powerfully.
Two of
Yeah,
the three
powerfully.
systems going that you need.
Yeah.
I guess
So
three before.
there's that. The Benz is very, very, very close as well. Everything's running on there. It's just a matter of
Aesthetics.
cosmetics. And
Cosmetics,
aesthetics. Yeah.
It has an
Yeah.
interior.
It has an interior. Yeah, everything's original with the interior.
Oh, that's
I think
cool.
I'm like try to
Okay.
keep it that way as
Yeah,
well.
we talked about this, right? Keep it all original and then change shit.
Might as
if you
well.
want to.
Yeah, and then change things as things goes on just for fun, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But with the Datsun out, is I can't get anything else out of here, so it's
Oh yeah, I mean
Yeah.
you can just roll it, but you need like 2 of us. to
Yeah.
do that.
It's a good excuse. Keep it blocked so that you have more of a fire under everybody's ass to get it going.
exactly. But wait till next summer. Summer of
Next summer.
2025. It's my time.
There's nothing wrong with the Mini, is there? The engine.
No,
The headlight
no.
bezel has
No.
been removed.
I need to.
What
I
is?
need to change the
The
headlight.
headlight bezel.
Yeah.
Headlight. I gotta change the headlight.
I saw
Okay.
that.
Yeah. And when you start fiddling with these old cars, you try to do one thing, and then all of a sudden there's more stuff that you find that you don't want to get into, and
Yeah.
that's what happened as soon as I pulled off that bezel. So I'm like, oh shit, I'm missing this, and this. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'll wait till I get some energy.
Yeah,
So,
I feel that.
Yeah, that's my week.
It's funny that a car so small could have so many problems.
Dude, I was warned, and I will warn everybody out there. Minis are so fun and they're so freaking cool, but let me tell you,
Don't buy one.
they are so much money to maintain. Classic minis are pretty crazy.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, mechanics probably are very few, far between, and everything.
Yeah.
VJ, how's your week been?
Oh yeah, pretty much recovering from the last weekend when I drove more than 1,000 miles to try to do the impossible thing of covering both Luftgekühlt and Velocity Invitational last weekend. So Friday I was at Velocity picking up credentials and taking a quick look at all the things on track at Sonoma Raceway. Then I started off towards Luft, reached at like 11 p.m.
It's
in
like a
LA.
Larry Chen approach.
Yeah. Reached at 11 p.m. in LA, stayed overnight at a hotel, and then attended Luft nice and early at 7 a.m. the next morning. Got all the good light at Hollywood Studios,
Nice.
Universal Studios.
So
Yeah.
so good.
This was the show space that made the name for Luft in 2019, where they first displayed the cars amongst all the, movie sets and everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what made the name for Luft. So this is their second outing at that location, and it was like it lived up to all the hype
Nice.
actually. So yeah, like people were like gushing over all the amazing sets and placement of cars and like totally amazing set and people.
So was it on like the back lot where they have
Back lot.
like some of the like the houses and sets and all that stuff?
Yeah, like the Wild West stuff.
Yeah.
Europe.
Okay,
They have
yeah,
like
yeah.
colorful houses. They have these places like where they have shootouts in
Yeah.
Wild West movies.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
go from like, like the Wild West to like Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you all
and
have,
like that,
there was
yeah.
a set Junction Square where they shot Back to the Future.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
a school that's used in the movie, so that school is basically set inside this place.
Nice.
So a car was like displayed prominently in front of that, and like
Nice.
there was a vintage gas station. There were like a lot of cool things.
I
Yeah.
don't know how
So-
much they pay
Pay for what?
to use that space.
Yeah.
How much they have to pay Universal.
Yeah.
I mean, Swart is like in the movies, is in the business as with making movies.
Oh, yeah,
right?
but
So-
I can't imagine it's free.
It's expensive,
it's not
yeah,
free, but
for
yeah.
sure.
It's mad
Yes.
expensive.
So are you actually walking through there or is everybody
Yeah.
on a tram?
Oh no, we're walking freely through there. Like some of those buildings are like open, so you can actually walk up there. It's
Yeah.
super sketchy because they're just like models made out of like
Yeah,
weak
right.
wood. So you gotta be really careful, but you can go upstairs and look down on the cars
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah,
And we'll
it's
get more
pretty
into Luft later on in the episode. Before we do that, Robert,
Yeah.
how was your week been?
Good. Mostly just work. I'd say the highlight of my week is kind of a funny one that I didn't expect. We have an R8, and I kind of haven't driven an R8 in a really long time.
Manual or automatic?
A manual
V10?
mid facelift V8,
Yeah.
which is the one you want. And I think the only thing that would be better than that in the first gen would be a facelift car, but none of them had good colors really. They had that like orange and a blue and a red. But I just forgot how good those cars are and how cheap they are. For I mean, they made a lot of them, like 24,000 of them. But they're so fun. I
So
would love to
beautiful
daily
also.
one.
So beautiful. Also.
Yeah.
Yeah, understated and beautiful.
I think they're really great.
So what's the
And
catch?
just like a really entertaining motor. They made a lot. Why are they cheap?
What's the catch? Yeah,
They made a lot of them.
and like, are they unreliable or something?
Yeah, I mean, Audi. I think there is some pretty significant mechanical flaw in the 08, 09, and 10 V8 cars that was remedied in 2011. And then there was a major facelift, I think, in 2012, which included the same change that was made in 2011. I don't remember what it is, but I know there's some big issue, and that's why you see like pretty low sale numbers for really early cars. But yeah, they're fun, and like just a high. I think it's one of the probably the last really good naturally aspirated manual V8 cars.
Everyday supercar sort of thing.
Yeah, it's really fun, and it's just
Livable.
as fast. It's like about as fast as I kind of want any car to be. That like 400 to 500 horsepower range is like good. That you don't need more than 450 horsepower. I think it's like it's fast. It's not scary. It's usable.
And it's
also like this pretty high revving V8. It's really fun. It does the V8 torque curve thing really well.
It has the Iron Man cred also.
Yeah, it's just such
it's
a
the first Iron Man car.
thing.
Yeah.
It has aged really well. When I think a lot of cars from like
They actually made it worse in the last generation with squarish everything. The early generation look is the best.
Really
I like
smooth.
the special edition they did. What was it? Was it
The GT? Yeah.
GT.
V10
That looked
GT.
pretty sick.
Yeah.
With the wing
for the
and-
curvier look of the earlier cars. Yeah.
It's kind of like a Periscopio versus.
Yeah. Too many additions.
Yeah.
Of scoops and straights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're really cool. I just think that like for the value, I can't think of a better car. I would have a manual V8 R8 over like a equivalent value 997.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to get the same experience. You'd have to spend so much more money on a 997.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'd have to buy a GT3, or I think I'd rather have an R8 than a 911S of that generation. Because they're both like sterile and German, so they both have that. They both have like, I don't know. Yeah, I take the R8. Had a lot of fun with that car.
Okay, so marketplace
It
finds.
triggers me so much.
Right. Especially when you bring up like Kanye and Mercy's today. You know, when he had that song, it was cool, but now it's like
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Similar to Diddy.
it was hella douchey back in the day.
Hey,
Yeah,
You're right about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, but they always are. Supercars supercars when they're new are like, I think for all of time have been like douchey things.
Yeah.
They only are really cool retrospectively.
Yeah. Was there anything douchier than an Aventador?
Yeah.
No.
Right.
That-
Like,
that-
No,
that's
in
probably
fact,
it.
there's a
That's
guy
what
at my gym that has an event store that he'll pull up to the gym,
Yeah.
which is not a place you drive an event store, but he hard
he's
parks,
probably the only place he drives.
backs in, both doors up,
Of course.
revs it to red line for like 7 minutes, and then gets out of the car and plays. And then he plays volleyball for 2 hours, and then comes back into. I like watch this guy. 'Cause
Actually?
I'm like, he's the specimen to
Nice.
watch. And then he revs it again a whole bunch, and then he leaves. And I'm like, this is crazy.
Does he do what's the Lamborghini backup with the both doors up?
That's what he
You
does.
sit on the
Yeah,
doorsill.
you see,
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't sit on the door cell. He's
Yeah.
just like he has
There's
some.
a name
He
for it.
must have an exhaust on it.
They
'cause
like
it's
taught you to
insanely
do
loud.
it when you would buy a Countach back in the day. They would teach you how to do it
Yep.
at dealerships.
Yeah, it was just hilarious. But that brings us into marketplace finds.
God,
After the Mercy talk.
so
Extremely low IQ behavior.
So none of these are Mercy logos. Actually, we're gonna go straight to the opposite of one. Last week we talked about a
It's
Fiat.
back.
We talked about a Fiat Panda that went for $26,000. But what I'm telling you now is you can go to this car in Grants Pass, which is a horrible place.
Is it a horrible place?
It's annoying. Yeah, it's well at least the
Just
pass
because
through.
the only time you go there is when you're trying to get somewhere else.
Yeah.
Let's not be rude to
This
the people.
guy's this guy's intention is sick. But go ahead. Sorry.
For $1,000, you could buy this, and then spend about $6,000 on a psychedelic interior, and then sell it on Bring a Trailer for $45,000.
Yeah, I can't believe you found one.
I like the
I
France
picked
emoji.
it up with the intention of putting a Hayabusa engine into it, but I haven't had the time for that. No shit, you haven't had the time for that.
Is there even an engine in this situation, or there's a carburetor right here. But I'm just saying this is another recap. But I'm saying
I don't see any rust yet.
Forget the Panda. Buy this.
Oh my god, the front seats.
And then redo the interior and sell it for $45,000.
Okay, it's gotta have some rust.
It most likely has rust. But I'm just saying $1,000 into it for 10.
Oh, there's roof rust.
Yeah, but that's part of the experience.
He's gonna put a Hayabusa motor would have torn itself out of this car.
Exactly.
You can see the front wheels
Just leave the car.
leaving the car, or one of the front wheels, I guess.
It's like,
But,
that's it. I'm out.
Yeah. But that's just harkening back to last week. Don't waste your money on a Panda. Just buy one of these and put a psychedelic interior in it. You get the same thing. Guaranteed, it's the same experience. Maybe less Italian, obviously, more French. But
Do not block door. He blocked the door.
yeah, dumbass. But there's that, and
Just refresh each of these pages. It'll
Yeah.
be logged in.
Is there something that happened at Grants Pass, Joe?
Just
One time I was driving to.
oh, there is a story. Yeah, nice.
One time I was driving to. Was that sold?
Is it? Is it?
Yikes.
But anyway,
We're just like zeroing in here a little bit on.
yeah, we're like geolocating how like our hate's like on all corners now.
Yeah.
We can-
I
Like,
can't believe
who
Concord
takes-
made it before Clayton.
Who takes
Yeah,
photos
for
like
real.
this of cars?
well,
Like
we'll
who
get
takes
into that.
a photo like this.
My second find was the
If you
V70R.
click on it, it might be bigger. What? And it's already gone?
Is already gone.
What year?
It was your year, and it was in Arizona,
Was
and
it
my
5?
friend wanted to. Yeah, and my friend wanted to buy it. I don't know how much
Was
it
it
was.
manual?
No, it was an automatic. He wanted to. He has the Ford Focus ST and wanted to sell it. And I was going to drive it over there with him and buy it. It's in Arizona.
Does he
Damn.
like-
It's gone now, but
It's good he didn't buy it. He didn't want that problems.
yeah.
But does
Yeah.
he want one still?
He wants one. Yeah.
Buy mine.
No, you should tell him. He comes to a lot of events.
Lose a shit ton of money on it.
But that brings us into Vault member finds. So, forgive me, I'm blanking on who actually found this. I think Jackson found this. Oh no, Jackson found the last one. This is Wesley. This is a Toyota Hiace Super Custom, and I wanted to show you this. For $5,000, you could be this guy.
my.
Oh, man.
Well, for 5,000, it's an El Cerrito though. It's close
Yeah.
by.
Looks like it did a stoppie and hit the front.
yeah.
yeah.
rolled in.
But it's a sad. I guess it's sad.
It's got
This is-
curtains though. That's very JDM.
Yeah.
It's very
Um,
2000s
Yeah.
or 90s.
There was
Quite
a
the
recent,
looker here.
recent video of a highway crash where this rolled on top of it. So
Maybe this is that
down.
one.
Yeah,
It was
Yikes.
totally rolled.
but yeah,
Unback
five
onto the
grand.
wheels.
I think this is way more expensive, but
Yeah.
you probably can't find parts for this. So good luck with that. Anyway, this is the one I'm most excited about is the Jackson's find.
Oh,
This is a W124 C124 E-Class with the same engine as Derek's car.
E36 is BMW
E30 no,
chassis
E36
car.
is an AMG. It's an AMG pre-merger AMG car.
That rear end, is that factory? That
This is an AMG.
stop, is that look factory, I should say?
No.
No, it's AMG.
Okay.
So this spoiler is AMG.
Is it? Okay, I see.
And then this thing
There were
is
very
also,
few real
yeah.
cars produced with like by
With that.
AMG in period. With
Yeah,
that
so this
stuff.
is a
Gotcha,
repro.
yeah.
It's
There's
a
lots of
reproduction. It's not a real AMG car, but this is still awesome. And so I just think it's cool. I wanted to shout it out. It's a 3.6 liter, and it's a coupe, which is
It's
awesome.
nice.
I have a lead on. Well, it was mine that my friend Ivan doesn't ever drive, but it's a 300 CE. That's alid. It's like a reddish pinkish color, and I was thinking it'd be a dream to like buy that car, put a 500e body kit and widen the rear a little bit, get an AMG situation going, and then put in the E55 drivetrain into it. 350 horsepower with something like this would be awesome. But I just thought it was really cool. Jackson, thanks for showing it to us. But yeah, so if you're not a member of Discord already, link in the description below. It's really, really fun. We have a bunch of different things going on there. The Vault finds are also obviously like a lot of fun, but we do more than just that. So link in the description. It's free to sign up if you're a member. So it'll be really fun to have you there. So that brings us straight into Luftgekühlt and Velocity. So VJ, you were our person there. I think no one else was there, right?
No.
No, I don't
So
think
why don't you talk about Luft and the experience of it, and what your experience was at the event, and then we can talk about what we saw on media and everything as well.
Sure, yeah. This was my second Luft. Although I've been to Airwater, which started last year as well. 10th edition of Luft, and this is the edition where they came back to their original famous part of Universal Studios Hollywood, and yeah, it's pretty much the best spot for Luft, I think, so far. Overall, in terms of the location and like the way the cars are placed, and yeah, it's pretty much like a photographer's dream, I would say. And like we had some of our Valt members as well displaying cars there. I saw Kale, whose photo was
right
there.
Mm-hmm.
Put a bunch of props on top of the cars. Like there were like Porsche race cars. There were like really cool people to meet, like Swart. There was Larry Chan, bunch of super interesting people to talk to as well. Yeah, I think it speaks for itself. Like it's essentially, you don't need to describe how good it is. You can see it in the photos. Yeah, I think it was worth driving 6 hours between Velocity and Luft just to see this.
Yeah, the settings
for
are
a day.
just so cool.
Yeah.
So something that I always think about Luft is that every single time there is one, there's a lot of hype around it.
Yeah.
Obviously, air-cooled Porsche people are really into their cars,
Yep.
Yeah.
so this makes sense.
Yep.
But I feel like you go to one of them and you kind of have experienced every single one of them.
Yeah.
For example, one of the big events that I like absolutely fell in love with in the beginning was Radwood. I went to it and I was like, this is the best thing in the world. Then the second one was like, oh, this is exactly the same. And then I stopped going really because it's like the same thing over and over again, which is like, you've been to one of them, you've been to all of them.
Yeah.
So like, what is it about Luft that gets people coming back?
I think it's like it's a first from the good problem that also like Porsche themselves face with like the GT3 platform. Like every time they bring out a new GT3, like journalists are asking like how much better can they make this in the next generation? Because it's so good, it's pretty much the archetype of the sports car,
Yeah.
the road plus track car. Like because it's so good,
Yeah.
journalists are
time.
like lost for words to say anything bad about it. They're like, where does Porsche go from here? And even
Although
like
most journalists are fucking idiots.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like most of them are.
Yeah, so like even then 5 years later they come up with something even like marginally better,
Yeah.
like and never like miss the mark on making it good.
Yeah.
Right, the GT3. So I think it's like the same analogy with Lyft. They're like their benchmark is so high, they just keep meeting it. So like people will think it's like maybe incrementally improving or it's the same sort of thing again and again, but it's like at such a high stratospheric level that you have to like always give them credit for what it is. Like they never fall below expectations is what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think also like the Radwood comparison,
yeah.
and I think that there's a lot of differences between the two events. I think Radwood is like the cultural 80s, 90s celebration part of that is what people find fun, and I think there's a very specific demographic of people that are really into that. You know, people that like really lived that might be more into it or are like really nostalgic for it in some way. But I think as like an event, I don't think you can compare the two when it comes to the staging and venues and branding. They're like on completely different levels. I think Luftgekühlt is like kind of in line with how Porsche brands their things, which is like everything's really, really well done. Everything's really well planned and really well executed.
Yeah.
It's just like completely, it's like it's the difference between like a corporatized approach to something like this and
I think
like
this is
something that went
yeah.
really well and was done really well, but maybe not it's in a systematized way.
Yeah, this is like real art direction that takes like weeks and months to put together. Actually,
Yeah, and I mean just the sheer volume is
Yeah.
kind of unbelievable.
I mean, Luft just parks cars together, like, and people dress
Yeah.
up really nice. But
Yeah.
this is like real art direction that's gone into it. That they've spent.
And I'm
like
sure it's
weeks.
also
Yeah.
evolved, obviously. Like the first one was like a little gathering of people that
Mhm.
became this. But
Yeah, now they
then
have,
their
like, proper
merchandising
branding.
is also just like
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the kind of one of the only events in America that reminds me of like some of the stuff like
Revival.
really
Yeah.
it's like obviously not the same kind of like there's not as much racing, there's no racing, there's all these other little things that are
Just
happening that are
static
very
displays.
different, but
Yeah.
yeah, just how seriously it's taken and like how much merchandising goes into it and how much planning goes into it. And how people will travel around the country for it. You know, you don't really get that with most other automotive events
Yeah.
other than the really big ones like Amelia Island and Car Week and the Bridge and you know some of those.
I think Luft again stands apart from all the concourse again.
Yeah.
The way they direct it, it's so
Yeah,
beautiful.
and it's not a Concours. It's like it's not a Concours, but it is something people will travel around the country for, and I can't think of that many other
Yeah.
events that fall into that
true.
Yeah,
category.
people
Yep.
drive all the way across. Yeah, it's true.
Yep. So, what are anything that stood out at this event, particularly for you?
I mean, instead of just making a static thing, they had a session where they did what is called a moment of loudness, where they turned on a bunch of race cars together and revved the hell out of them. Like the 917 was turned on and revved by Patrick Long. So like it made it beyond the static display.
Yeah, that's
thing.
great.
That's good.
So that was cool, and I think the music was really well chosen as well. And this time we could get higher perspectives to take photos from like some of these buildings and stuff. And the merchandising, as Robert said, is really, really good. Like they had like live print silk screening where they made the official posters in front of you
Oh, really?
by
Wow,
putting the
that's
That's
colors
cool.
on the board and just pulling through the things.
That's
And-
cool.
Yeah,
cool. Yep.
like-
I mean, like from the photos, it looks like an extraordinary experience to attend.
Yeah.
As someone who isn't really as into Porsches as other cars, I don't know if I would go more than once, really. But like, I definitely this one seemed like the one to go
Yeah,
to. I
this
mean,
is-
based off your photos.
Yeah, I
at
think if
least.
I were to go to another Luft, that'd be the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as a photographer, this is like, I cannot miss this.
Yeah, I mean, everything hits. It seems like everything hits and on very on purpose, which is obvious. I mean, that's what Luft calls all
That's
about.
what like Larry Chen also says. Like even after spending 3 days shooting here, he was still finding new things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really
that's
cool.
Luft.
So directly after that, you drove back up north to Sonoma and went to
Yeah.
Velocity.
Yeah.
So walk us through that.
The same day after Luft, I left after 5 p.m. and then got back here the same night. And then next morning, I was back in the sauna or the furnace of Sonoma Raceway, which is 100 and freaking
Was
10.
I was going to ask you, was it hotter at
Sonoma.
at Universal or?
No, Sonoma was much
So,
hotter.
yeah.
Sonoma was probably like 10 degrees or so hotter. And it was so hot, like within seconds of going out and the sun hitting you, you were like burning like,
Yeah.
on the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, such crazy hot.
There's no place to hide at Sonoma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking about going because we had some media stuff for it. But like by the time barbecue was over, it was hot there.
It was hot, yeah.
And I was like, if it's hot here, there's
Yeah.
no chance I'm going to Sonoma.
Yeah, this was the 5th anniversary of Velocity. So they did like, I think Velocity has kind of converged into like a fixed format. Over the 5 years, they figured out what works best for them. So all the layouts of things are like familiar now. Like you know where to find what kind of cars now and how the layout will be across the racetrack for Sonoma. And yeah, what kind of shops will be there, like wine experience and like rally off-road experience, like ride-alongs and things like that. I think the highlight this year, a couple of them were the Dirtfish rally cars, the Group B era. They brought along the Peugeot, the Lancia, Delta S4, the Audi Quattro S1. But these things, they had like proper track sessions, like ride-alongs and gravel sessions as well with these. And they had F1 champion Jenson Button drive a lot of these cars on track. And it was a really like an open door sort of situation where you could just walk up to all these super famous drivers like Tony Kanaan, Jensen, Christian Lundgaard, IndyCar drivers. So, and just meet them without a lot of crowd. That was really nice. Yeah, to see. Yeah.
So comparing the two of them, obviously there's a lot of differences. But what did Sonoma do good that maybe Luftgekühlt could benefit from, and vice versa? I know they're completely different events, but is there anything that could be?
I mean, it's totally different if people compare because this is more of a motorsport event. Track display, it's pretty much all that. And they pay less attention to display and arrangement of cars compared to track day stuff. So this is more driving. Yeah, that's just how it is. And like I like both of those. Like when you do really good presentation, that's really good. But also seeing cars do what they're meant to do, that's also really nice to see.
Does
Yeah, so-
Luft do like a parking lot show or anything like that?
When I was in here in San Francisco, they did have like an award for the best in parking lot.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I always like when they have like attendee shows.
Yeah, it was won by a van, Volkswagen bus.
I think that was the one that was swapped with the Porsche,
Yeah,
motor, right? Yeah.
They had a Gulf livery and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it really seems like kind of like the best. If they weren't 400 miles apart, it would have been the best weekend for car people.
In
really,
California.
In California, yeah.
Better than Car Week.
Yeah, I mean, like Luft has a. I mean, if you like Porsches, yeah, really. I mean, to be
Cheaper
honest,
than Car Week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
A lot cheaper than Car Week.
I mean,
This
like
was-
you spent a grand total of probably zero, so
Yep.
So apart from gas.
Just
yeah,
Yeah.
gas.
saved like probably like $800.
But in total, like if you were to, if like you were to get the cheapest ticket for both these events, I think you would be into the experience for like $250 for the weekend or something like that. Right.
Luft was 100. This was like 100 per day. So,
Oh, 100
yeah.
per day, okay.
So yeah.
But yeah, so those are the recaps. Comment down below if you guys went to one of them. I know a lot of you guys went to Velocity, so if you have different experiences, let us know. We are very interested to hear what you guys have to say about them. But that brings us straight into the scenario, which is Luft centered, but with a twist. So if you can make a Luftgekühlt for another manufacturer, Luftgekühlt as in the event, not the air cooled word, what would it be and why? So what kind of
French
auto
cars.
manufacturer, specific auto manufacturer, can you just French? What would you do? What kind of car manufacturer has a similar scene to the cult like nature of people who have air cooled cars?
BMW.
BMW is kind of
I definitely say the Nissan Altima.
that would probably be the best.
For sure.
They call it like Alticult or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
For
Exactly.
sure.
Ultimate Cult.
Wow. What a phenomenal answer.
Right. And they just take
over.
instead of having it at one place, it just
Do a
moves.
takeover,
It just
yeah.
goes from
And you know
block
the
to block to
Ultima
block.
thing is it's not just like California, it's not just the Bay Area, it's like
It's a vibe.
a real
everywhere.
thing.
It's like
It's a
the
real
whole
thing.
country.
It's a vibe,
Yeah.
Because I've
Fun.
talked to people from the East Coast who are like, "Yep,
Big Ultima Energy is a real
How
thing.
about just PT cruisers?
PT
across the
Cruisers?
country?
Yeah, I mean that's good guys though. I mean that's pretty. It's already been done.
Yeah, BMW, they have a Bimmerfest thing that goes on in LA.
That's
as
horrible
well.
though. I mean
Yeah.
it used to be good, but I
Yeah.
went to it when I was a kid.
It's all illegal cars doing
Yeah, now it's
flying.
Yeah, I mean, my first thing that comes to mind is BMW because there's a lot of diversity. It's less diversity in the Porsche, but there's a lot of diversity in the community. Like you could bring an E9, but you can also bring in like your M2CS and would fit in.
Or like an E36 notchback.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, it's hard for me to like. There's not much. Maybe like Miatas or like maybe Ford.
Yeah. I was gonna
we're
say,
just saying as culty."
No, like a Luftgekühlt style event.
Oh, I see.
if there was a manufacturer, I think that could rival something like Luft is, I think it would be Volkswagen. Right off the top of the head, to be serious, I think
I think it'd be
Volkswagen's
Mercedes.
dead.
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen's dead.
Mercedes has an extreme.
No,
depth.
like I'm saying, like classic.
I think with the
Beetles,
cars they could
the
display and like their
Scirocco's,
way to do it,
the
yeah.
Coronados, the buses.
I don't think people
Stuff.
that'd be a great event.
Yeah,
That'd be a great
yeah.
event.
That'll be
Yeah.
nice. The vibe will be nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the vibe would be great. And Mercedes is also a great choice. Because
I don't think there's as much. I don't think there's enough.
Mercedes
Like,
will be so sterilized. The event,
540s.
the event would
Pintails.
be event would look so sterilized.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
hard to stage Mercedes in a way like this.
Yeah.
It would have to be in a different setting.
It would
yeah, I
look
don't
like
think there's another
Autobahn.
mark that would be. I don't think you could do it with any other mark though.
Carnegie is.
No one has like the
That'd be
combined motorsports plus lifestyle
And
Oh, yeah.
luxury.
pedigree,
Yeah.
luxury, and like high level customer appeal.
I wonder if like
That's sort of-
vintage Jag could do it. Maybe.
I mean,
Is
like
there enough of them around?
Well, not here. What I'm talking about,
Yeah.
you know, on the other side of the world or something. Like, I'm just thinking that is there anything other than Porsche that could pull off an event this stylized and make it look good?
Right? Ferrari has like the money and like
Yeah,
customer
but like
following.
Ferrari's gonna look
It's
like
too exclusive though.
too corporate. I think
Yeah.
it would look too like fancy pants. You know, nothing like this.
Yeah.
Like, not-
also
when
it
you
would
have
just
the- when you
draw
throw-
out a different type of demographic. I think
Yeah.
too. Like
Yeah.
just
I guess Porsches are just affordable enough to where like I mean obviously some of these cars aren't, but like
Yeah.
they're just affordable enough for people to like get a hold of
It's
them a little
the
bit.
sweet spot.
And BMWs aren't expensive enough to generate that lust. So like they're cheap, you know, like an E20 M5 would fit in nicely to a cool looking show.
Yeah.
But like they're cheap enough that people can still destroy them. And for the most
Yeah.
part, these people are not destroying. I mean, air cooled cars are not.
And they didn't also maintain the lineage of that 911 look since the 60s.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. I mean,
Yeah.
like their styling is not ever wavered.
it is
what
honestly kind of wild that Porsche's corporate brand is so powerful that it's created like an entire ecosystem of lifestyle brands and events
Porsche
and
owns-
things that they don't even own. Yeah, they
Porsche
own
owns Luft.
now.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but what about Corvettes? Chevy Corvette. Think
Hey,
about
you
it.
know what?
Think about it.
Yeah, you're
They
right.
Think
would
about
go-
it.
You're right.
That's just good guys.
Yeah, you're right. No, I mean,
Sure.
a Corvette specific show at a racetrack.
Yeah,
because you,
that could
you
work.
have a little bit of racing history.
Staged like this,
No.
but at a
Yeah.
racetrack would
It's
probably
not good,
It
but-
wouldn't
It's
like
gonna be a
rival in
barbecue
our
party.
opinion. It wouldn't rival it, but it would rival.
I
it
feel
in
like I
terms
would
of-
go to that.
in
I'd be
terms
like,
of-
I want to see this.
In
Like,
terms of appeal, it would
Jorts.
rival it.
Oh yeah.
It
Wear,
would,
wear
for sure.
jorts.
yeah, wear
Jorts
jorts.
gekühlt.
Hey, you know, there's someone in our community that has a C3 Corvette wagon,
Ooh, wow.
like a coach built like wagon, like from
Nice.
like literally like from like it's great. I
There was. Oh no, never mind. It's different.
it's
one.
coming. It's being restored right now. It's to come to one of our shows when it's finished. But I just some random
Is it like a golden yellow?
Yeah, that'll do it. I mean, so really we come to the conclusion that basically nothing can rival anything that Luft does with like style, I guess, which is too bad.
No
that it was
brands.
only-
It's like 60, 75 years in the making.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day this will be something. But
Yeah.
anything else before we close out?
I'm still stuck on that question. I'm thinking.
I don't know if there ever will be one because it's
No.
like you can pull from.
Well,
so
nowadays there's nothing
decades.
culturally that's
Te-
moving.
Tesla.
Yeah, I mean that realistically, like in 80 years or 60 years, there could
Tesla's gonna
probably be
become like a
Tesla
cyber
thing.
party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cyber party. Sort
Yeah,
of
I could
like
actually see. Actually, you know what? I can't think of any brands that have
cyber rave.
more of a like large
Cult
cult of
following.
personality.
Yeah, I mean, Porsche's been so ingrained with motorsports. It's hard to.
That's
Yeah,
hard.
you just can't do that.
No, like the Tesla parties
And
will
like-
be like cyber raves.
And you see the importance of protecting your brand and branding, protecting your brand and the clientele that you get with
Yeah.
all that.
They definitely
as well,
did it the like textbook perfect way.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I mean, even BMW has a great motorsports history, but it's gone now. There's nothing fun about or interesting about it now. There's still a lot of 99 whatever out there racing.
Like
Fine.
Porsche knows exactly what their customer wants and they give it to them.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So textbook, learn from them.
Be
So
German.
That it's not just Porsche. That,
Be German, not Italian.
yeah, be
Give your
German.
customer
not,
what
not
they want.
Freaking Italian. All they do is
Be
nothing.
Italian.
They just, I don't know what they do.
Like GT3s
They just
are like
scream at each other when they have
Porsches are
sex.
like GT Porsches are like more in demand than ever before. So,
Yeah, and then they're coming out with Boxster RSs. I mean, all these insanely nice, cool
everything
stuff.
they can't make enough.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad. I hope another manufacturer at some point in my life can rival it a little bit, but I don't know. I don't think so. But that'll do it. We'll see you on next week's episode, where we're going into Saco. So
Yeah, that'll be
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Shit.
All right, see you later.
Hey.